Hey guys, welcome back to another iRacing GT3 Challenge Fixed Series track guide. We're into week 2 of season 2 2021 and we are at Sebring. I'm in the Ferrari. Obviously it's a fixed setup, so we can't really change anything on the car. The only thing I have done is I've moved the brake bias forward one click towards the front wheels. That's going to help us keep hold of the rear of the car when we're in these really fast braking zones. As always, you can download My Ghost Cars from our Discord channel. Check it out in the link in the description below. Great way to practice if you're struggling with Sebring here this week. Managed to just about get in under 2 minutes, so really happy with that. I hope you find this guide useful. If you do, please do give the video a like. Please do consider subscribing if you aren't already. And let us know in the comments how you're getting on this week. Has this guide helped? Are you winning any races? I'd love to hear all about it. Alright guys, if I don't see you before my next video, hopefully I'll see you out there on the track this week for some racing. Cheers. So here we go with my 1 minute 59.833 in the fixed setup Ferrari here at Sebring. We start the race in the same track condition, same temperature, 23 degrees, and we started this run. It was an 8-lap run with full race fuel. So we're coming up to turn 1, and if we just wind back a little bit, so you'll see just ahead where the wall kinks in slightly to the left. That's where we're putting the car. That's where we're aiming right now. And we're going to want to start our braking just as we reach that point. And you'll notice here that there is a line in front of us on the track. That's basically what I use as my braking point. Now we're going to want to bring the car down to 4th. And we're going to want to brake kind of sort of middling here, not too heavily. But we need to pull out reasonably quickly so we can get the car to turn in. But we do want to trail brake in towards the apex, otherwise we're just going to carry too much speed. Now, I've paused it here because down around the corner on the wall on the left, you can actually see a cone sticking out of the fence. That is the apex point for this corner. So while I'm at this phase of the turn, I'm watching for that cone. I'm trying to get the car to line up with it as nicely as possible. So we come up to our closest approach right there. We're already back in the accelerator before we hit that. We do need to build the accelerator quite gradually here. It's super easy to run out of track. It's very bumpy here. The car gets thrown around a little bit. So you do need to be mindful that you are going to run out of exit really quickly. Now, we're already looking ahead to the next set of cones. And the set of 3 cones here, just after this, is where we're going to start our braking. We're going to brake pretty heavily here. We're going to come down to second. And as we go past the number 1 cone up ahead, we're going to start our turn in. And really what we want to do is follow the inside curb around quite tightly. Because after this kink here in the curb, we want to try and make sure we're as straight as possible. Got a really late apex on the end of this curb. Want to be as straight as possible for that next curb on the right hand kink here. We're going to chew a bit of this curb off. That's absolutely fine. We are modulating the throttle. If we hit that curb with full throttle the wrong way, the car's going to get very, very upset. But ultimately what we want to do is make sure we're where we are positioned at the moment. We want to be as far over the right hand side of the track as we can without putting a wheel on the grass. It is quite easy to get your right rear on the grass here, so when you turn in you can spin it, so just be mindful of that. But what we're going to do is just at the end of this curb, we're going to tap the brakes a bit, trail brake into the left. So we're trailing in and we're basically looking for this kink in the curb on the left hander here. We want to pick up just after that kink and keep it tight so that we can limit our steering angle on exit, allowing us to put our foot down more. It's very easy to spin the back wheels around here. If you feel like you're losing traction, if you feel like the rear's spinning up at all, you're losing time. So you've got to be super careful here. It's a real compromise between turning angle and accelerator. So the tighter you can get into this kink to start the exit phase, the better. So we'll set the car down, big bend here, and we'll keep it over to the right hand side until we hit the straight, and we'll let it fade over to the left. And past the bridge, we're looking at the cones. The first set of cones, we need to start very, very, very heavy braking. You might want to brake just before. It's probably quite advisable. We're going to brake all the way down to first gear. So once the curb starts, we're going to start our turn in very gradually. We've just got into first gear and we're going to hold the brake quite firmly until we hit the apex, and then notice how I only went up to about 60-65% on the accelerator there to begin with. If you put your foot down, you're going to do donuts on this hairpin. So what you want to do is you want to try and keep the car really well balanced. So when you're coming out of the brake and you're going into the accelerator, you don't really want to feel that through your steering wheel. You want it to be a really gentle transition to keep the balance in the car. And then once it's settled, we're back up to 100%. So we're going to take the shortest route through here, which is basically to keep tight to the right. We'll fade over to the middle of the track after this turn. And then we'll allow ourselves a late apex here, just so as we can really minimise our steering angle. Right, really, really heavy braking zone here, and we're going to start braking just between the 4 and the 3 cones. Here we go, we're just into the brake now. And we're going to go down to second. But notice how hard I'm braking. I'm right up threshold there. And just as this curb starts on the left, we're going to throw the car in to the inside curb. We want to get tight to the inside curb. And then we're into the accelerator. Again, just like the hairpin, we need to be gentle and on our initial application of the accelerator, otherwise the rear's going to spin up. And we're just going to use as gentle a steering angle to guide us around the corner here as much as we can. What we want to do is we're going to brake slightly out at an angle from just about the third cone, and we're pointing out towards the outside track, the curbing on the left. We don't really want to use that curb. If we start to ride that, that's going to upset our entry into this pretty tight right-hander. But we're going to bring the car down to second, and then before the transition in the track here, before the tarmac changes colour, we're going to turn in. We're looking to the inside curb. We don't want to touch it. We're going to fade our way out of the brakes, and then before we've even apexed, we're back on the accelerator. Nice and gently initially. That steering angle's come out. We're on the gas 100%, and we make the exit curb. Just going to let the car float out towards the middle. We're actually coming into one of the trickiest parts of this track for my money. So we're purposefully not using all the track here. We're just going to be travelling extra meters if we go out extra wide here. It's just no point. We want to cut off as much of this next inside curb as we can to really line us up for the next complex. We're going to start braking just on the 3 cones. We're going to bring the car down to third, and then as soon as we hit the final set of cones here on the left hand side, we need to turn in but not draw ourselves out of the brakes too quickly, else the back will get super loose on us. So here come the cones, we're turning in, and we're aiming halfway round this blue and white curb to pretty much mount the curb or get super close to it at least. Now we're back on the accelerator, and then we're going to modulate just a little bit to keep the car nice and safe here, and we're aiming the car out past the track limits. We're well onto the overrun here, and then as soon as the car is straight, once we're on this overrun, we're going to start our turn in and aim for the middle of this curb, and we're already back on the accelerator nice and steadily here. Because we're having to use quite a lot of steering angle, you have got to really strike that balance between the extent of our steering angle and the extent of the accelerator. We really need to make sure we're on the money there, otherwise the traction goes, the time goes, and if you're not careful, obviously the car's going to go too. So we're gunning it down the back straight. With the gear ratio of the fixed setup, we're not going to make 6th gear. But we're looking to the cones. And around about the 2nd cone, we're going to fling the car into the right relatively firmly. And we're going to start our braking almost immediately after we've started that turn in. And what we're basically looking to do here is we're braking the car between this point and the edge of the wall there, out towards the line. We're applying a little bit of angle. We're getting pretty close to this white line out here. We don't want to go too far out, and likewise we don't want to stay too shallow. We're trying to create a really nice arc so that we can get nice and tight to the wall in a second. So down to third. Now at this point we want to be thinking about getting on the accelerator, so we want to be tight in to the wall just ahead of us, just by the bridge, so that we can build up the accelerator, limit our steering angle so we can strike that balance between getting our foot on the gas and actually making it around the corner. And that, for my money, is the best line here. So that was my 1 minute 59.833 here at the fantastic Sebring. I hope this guide is useful for you. If you did find it useful, please do give it a like. Please do give us a comment down below. Let us know how you're getting on with your practice, how your races go this week. Don't forget to tune in to my GT3 League. Season 2 of the GT3 League, it's called American Classics, is running right now. We are doing all US tracks, and Sebring will be coming up in a few weeks' time. So, thanks for watching, guys. Have a real good week of racing. And if I don't see you before my next video, hopefully I'll see you out there on the track. Cheers.